Well, hi Matt. Thanks for sending through these new clips. I really enjoyed looking at them. I think your swing is looking really solid. So I'm pretty excited about how you're going to play over the next few weeks and months. I think you're doing a lot of things really well. So I don't have a huge amount of sort of major things to go through with you tonight, which is good. You've made some really good progress. So I'm going to talk through some of the things that I really like about what you're doing now, so that we can make sure we keep doing those. Give you a couple of things that I want you to think about as we go forward, and then talk a little bit about the things you should work on at the range, how to practice, how to structure your practice sessions so you get the most out of them. So let's step through the two clips, and we'll look at them together and just talk about the things I really like about what you're doing at the moment. So down the line, setup wise, posture is good. Really like the sort of curvature at the top of the back here, and the sort of look where the chin is down, eyes looking directly down into the ball. That helps you stay really grounded in the start of your swing. You can feel the ground beneath your feet, and that's exactly what you want at the start of the swing. So you really want to use that ground during the swing to help us generate that speed and that leverage as we come in towards impact. So posture very good. Possibly a fraction too close to the ball here at address. The arms are sucked under you just a little bit there, Matt, at address. But other than that, really good address position from down the line. From face on, a lot of good things as well. I like the look of the legs a lot. I like the way the right hip is nice and forward here. The knees are nice and separated. You've got that left arm and the shaft forming a straight line. Shaft leaning sort of slightly forward there at address. So very solid look. Left toe turned out a little bit. I like that as well. That helps with the release. The only thing from face on that I would pick up slightly is that the spine is tilted slightly towards the target. I'd rather it had a slight angle away from the target address, but that's the only thing I'd really pick up on that address position. Now, as we start this swing here, I think that first move is a nice one from face on. I like the way you get that club head moving first, something we have talked about in the past, and I like the look there. Yeah, you get that club head moving just a little bit ahead of the arms there, which is good. That's good sequencing in that first move, and good arm position here as we take the club away. I like the look from down the line here. You can really get the sense you're turning around your spine, staying in your posture nicely, and the plane is good. The arms are tracking in nicely. Let's sync these clips up a little bit better. So very good look in this first part of the swing here. I would suggest slightly sort of flat here with the shaft plane, and the shoulder plane a little bit too level, Matt. That's the only thing I would sort of criticise about this halfway back position. But other than that, as we get towards the top of the swing here, face on is really good. I really like the way the hips are turning, plenty of hip turn in there. Left knee is staying forward, right leg is extending in that backswing, and that allows you to stay very centered over the ball. You can see your head has remained very centered. Good width in the arms at the top as well. So very good position at the top there, Matt. You're right on top of the golf ball when you're ready to really push off in that downswing. So I do like that position quite a lot. Excuse me. So just looking from down the line here, the one thing we talked about before was this right arm and making sure this stays nicely in front of the body. Just hitting some shots with a glove under your right arm is going to help you. Just keep that right arm a little bit more connected, a little bit more in front of the body as we get to the top of the swing there. That's something we see in the downswing coming through in your swing, is those arms tend to drop sort of straight down and stay a little bit behind the body rather than working out in front of you as you start down. So that's just a small thing for us to keep in mind, but I do like the look. Good knee action, good hip turn there. Shoulder turn just a little bit more level than I would like. I'd like to see it just a fraction steeper, and that's gonna help you in the downswing, just to get those arms a little bit more out in front of you than what we see at the moment. Now, as we start down, the hip action is one of the things that we've talked about. So you can see from face on, do a nice job of the head staying centered in the left hip, working forwards, which is good. I think you can still work a little bit more on this feel. So I'm looking just at face on at the moment, and I mean, you've already got those hips quite forward at the top of the swing here, so it's sort of, to some extent, the work has kind of already been done, but you really want to get that feeling at that right hip. If we mark its position there at the top, see it's just a little bit stable as you start down. You almost want to get that lateral feeling in those hips as you start down, which will really help you create that leverage and that sequencing in the downswing that we're looking for. So I just want you to feel that that right hip is going to continue moving towards the target and get that left hip as far forward as you can get it in this halfway down position. You can see here as you start down, the first sort of move is actually quite nice. The club sort of tends to drop into a decent position, but it's from here, Matt, where that club shaft sort of stands up a little bit more and the arms stay just a little bit too much under the body there. I want to get that left arm just out just a little bit more to give you a little bit more room to fire. But having said that, really good posting of the legs here. Head is nicely centered, a little bit of an angle there in the spine, which is great, and the legs are very much forward, so that's excellent. I really like the fact here in this position that your left hip is really nicely sort of leading the downswing, which is really, really good. Also like the fact that the right heel here is ahead of the right toe, and as we look from down the line, see the way that right foot is rolling through the impact zone. That's very, very good. Yeah, really like the look of that right foot coming through impact there, so that's very good. So this is the part of your swing that's much improved, Matt, this position through impact. You see here from face on the way this right heel is almost sort of dragging along the ground a little bit as you come through. That's a sign of the leverage that you're applying into that ball through impact, which is great. Really like that right foot action through the ball. Very, very good. So at this point in the swing, I think you're in good shape. I think what we want to continue to have happen from here is you want to feel those hips push and extend in this part of the swing here. If you watch the right knee here, it's a tendency for it just to droop down a little bit at this part in the swing. And that's when that, we talked about in the past, the hips tend to sort of spin there and come back, and the right shoulder goes forward. And that's when these hands and arms roll over. And you can see, if you look from down the line here, this one here, you can see that club face is sort of rolled over and is a little bit shut now at this point in the swing. I want you to get the feeling that those hands are going to be a bit more passive. You can almost, if we just step back a bit here, I want you to feel you're going to hold on to that angle in the back of the right wrist here as you come through the impact zone. Going to hold on to that angle in the right wrist. Keep that club face a bit more passive, so at this point in the swing that club face is not looking down at the ground quite so much, the right hand not quite so much on top. So what's going to help you with that is the feeling that these hips are going to continue to extend, the legs are going to continue to extend, and you're going to push your belt buckle towards the target and sort of up. Because if we get to here, we just get the sense that that upper body's kind of overtaking the lower body towards the target and the hips are a bit more back. It's an area that's improved quite a bit actually, but we can still do it a little bit better. But really, really good, Matt. Some really, really strong, solid things going on in there. That position at the top from face on is really, really helping you. It's really helping us get into that strong position to make that good, strong downswing. I hope you're hitting the ball well in this session because it looks really, really solid, really simple, and just looks really good leverage there. I love that leg action through impact, really strong. That's great. So yeah, just this frame here where that right knee droops down, I don't like that. The legs are kind of getting lower at this point, and that's going to make the hands and arms take over. So we want to get those legs to feel like they're going to extend into the through swing, and that's going to allow you to keep the wrist action more passive and the arms to extend for longer. And that's what we're looking for, just to get that sort of simple passive release. It's going to allow you to hit a number of different shots. Now I just wanted to give you a bit of a reference here in terms of how far you have come with your swing. Got one of the first face-on swings that you sent to me here, and I'm just going to have a little look at this one. Just keep keeping in mind the things that we've been talking about in this analysis. So looks a little bit sort of not needed address there, which is not so good for the stability. And as we get into the backswing here, big move into the right side. So you can see just how much that spine is tilted away from the target at the top of the swing. The left knee's kicked right in here. So you're way behind the ball there at the top of the swing. Much less grounded, much less centered. And as you start down, you can see how much that right side is hanging back behind the ball there. You really get the feeling the bottom of the arc is behind the ball in this swing. Comparing that to your current swing, such a much better position there. The head much more over the ball, and the left hip much more forward, so you're in a better position just to really hit down that ball, compress it into the ground, and get that solid contact and much more consistency. And if you look through impact here, well, there you almost get the sense that you've bottomed out early and the ball's being lofted up into the air. But you look at these positions through impact, they're so much weaker there. So much stronger there. If you look where that right hip is now, hips are much more forward, much more extended, right leg in a much better position, right heel is working towards the target. It's much stronger position, really like it. As in the old swing, I mean, look at that left foot dancing away there, and the hips are working back. Yeah. So, big improvement there, much more powerful and solid through the impact zone. Okay, let's bring back your old clip, the down the line clip here, and we'll just, in fact, I'm just going to take you up to the top here. So the big thing for you is just going to be, as we get to the top of the swing, it's getting those hips to work towards the target as we start down, and just allowing those arms to work out in front of you a little bit more. So this position here is the one. That left arm is a little bit too much across the chest, and the shaft is a bit too vertical here. If we can get that left arm a little bit more out in front of the body at this point in the swing, then you're going to have that bit more freedom to hit different types of shots and to keep that club face nice and passive. So those are the two main things for you at the moment. Now, in terms of how to practice, well, you ought to be in a position, I think, with this swing where it's at now, Matt, that you should be able to hit the ball pretty solid. And then it comes down to being able to control the ball, so hitting different types of shots, high, low, fades and draws. Excuse me. So when you're practicing, there are really two types of practice. One is where you're working on your swing, and you want to limit that time to roughly half of your range time. You know, if you're there for an hour, then no more than half an hour working on fields in your swing, working on the drills. So hitting, thinking about your swing, your technique. Hitting shots with a glove under your right armpit, maybe hitting some shots where you're pausing at the top of the swing before you make the downswing. So you take it to the top, make 2 counts, and then start down, and that will allow you to really think about the hip action as you start down. That's a good drill for you. So half the time thinking about the technique of the swing. And then the other half of the time, you want to do things that are going to be really related to play in the game and what you're going to need to do out on the golf course. So, having targets, changing the club you're hitting regularly, going through your full routine, and really trying to get into the same kind of mindset that you're going to be in on the golf course, because it's very easy just to rake one ball after another and hit nice shots and feel good about your game. But in some ways, that's not actually very relevant to what you're going to be doing on the golf course. On the course, you're going to hit, an iron shot every 10 minutes. So you need to vary things up, and you need to use that full routine on the range, so you really can practice that mindset that you're going to need out on a golf course. Now, a good way to do that is to actually play, in your mind, the course on the range. So you visualize the course that you're going to be playing, or your local course. So start with the first hole, get your, whichever club you're going to use for that tee shot. Maybe it's a driver. Pop the ball on the tee, come back behind it, visualize that hole you're going to play, and go ahead and play that shot. think about where the ball ends up. Is it in the fairway? Is it in the rough? What club do I need for my second shot? Go ahead and play that shot. And if you work your way through the course, it takes you quite a while. It really exercises your mind in terms of using your full routine and visualizing your targets, and it's much more closely associated to what you're going to be doing on the golf course when you're playing for real. So playing a course on the range is a great way to both practice your routine and also sort of train your mind in terms of visualization and picturing the shots. So that's a really good drill to use on the range. Now, just to finish, I just want to talk a little bit about particular different types of shots. We've got 4 basic types of shots: the draw, the fade, the low shot, and the high shot. So let's think about what we need to do to hit those shots. Now, if we start with the draw, this may be a shot you find a little bit tricky, one that's just genuinely going to start to the right of the target, given the sort of angle that you're approaching the ball on. I suspect you find it difficult to hit that true draw that starts right. Well, what we need to do to hit that shot is we need the club face. If this is our target line, we need the club face at impact to be slightly open to that target line, so the ball will start to the right. The ball's going to start more or less where the club face is aiming. So we need the club face actually to be open at impact if we're going to hit a draw. And then to achieve the draw spin, we actually need that path to be even more to the right than the club face is open. So let's clear these lines here. So at address here, you want the club face to be slightly open, and you want that ball to be a little bit further back in your stance to hit the draw. That means you're going to catch the ball slightly earlier in the arc, and that's going to help you hit it to the right. Then with the draw, you want to have a real feeling that the hands are going to be very much ahead of the ball through the swing. So you start with your hands setting up ahead of the ball, and you feel as though your hands are going to stay ahead all the way through impact. So keep that shaft leaning forwards all the way through impact. And with the draw, you really want to get those hips as far forward as you can get them at impact. That's going to help you hit the ball much more from the inside. So for the draw, ball back, hands forward, club face open, and really shift those hips into the downswing and keep that handle ahead. It might be slightly a new sort of way of hitting a draw for you to have the club face open at address. But if you practice this, you'll suddenly realise, wow, this really does work. The club face open ensures the ball starts to the right. And when you shift that weight as far forward as you can get it and get the ball back, that gets the arc coming slightly from the inside, and that gets you hitting that draw shot. Now, to hit the fade is the opposite. So with the fade, you need that ball slightly further forward. You want the hands probably level with the ball or even slightly behind the ball at address. And then as we're coming into impact here, and you need the club face a little bit shut at address, so the ball will start left. And then the feeling then is more about rotation as you come through impact rather than shifting, so that you get that path which is going to be slightly to the left of the target. So ball forward, club face shut, hands back, and feel as though you're going to turn left through impact to hit that fade. So work on those 2 shots when you're at the range, hitting a couple of draws, a couple of fades. Keep practicing those shots. To hit it low, the key to hitting it low is a combination of the angle of attack and the loft on the club. So the more we can hit down on the ball, the more we're going to reduce the loft on the face, and the more we can get that shaft leaning forwards, the more we're going to reduce the loft. So to hit that low shot, you want to move the ball back a little bit, and you really want to shift everything, upper body and lower body, towards the target in the downswing. The more you shift forwards, the more you'll hit down on the ball, and you want to get those hands leading as much as possible, that shaft leaning forward as much as possible as you're coming into impact. So the more you hit down, the more you get those hands leading, the more loft you'll take off the shot, and the more you'll be able to hit that ball down. To hit it up in the air, it's the opposite. You want a shallow angle of attack, and you don't want that shaft leaning forward as much. So you might move the ball up slightly and you won't have the hands leading as much, and so therefore you're not taking as much loft off the club into impact, and you're using the natural loft on the club to get the ball going up. You're still going to be compressing it slightly. You need to compress it to get that good solid contact, but you just don't reduce that dynamic loft quite as much by hitting down the ball as much. So have a play around with those four different types of shot, and if you can get some sort of consistency and control over those different shot shapes, that's going to give you a lot of options out on the course, a lot more control. So really use your range sessions to try and work on the things that you're going to need on the course mat, and that's going to really help you move your game forward and make a difference to your scorecard as opposed to just your ball striking. I hope that's helpful. I think you're in a really good place with your swing. You're making really good progress, so it's just a question of sort of more of the same, really, the same sorts of things we've been working on. It's really sort of starting to bear fruit. And it'd be good to hear, from your side how things are going, what you're trying to achieve this summer, what you feel is holding you back. Maybe we can talk some more about that on email over the next week or two. Okay, play well this weekend, and look forward to seeing some more clips from you soon, Matt. Speak to you soon.